This is about the novel The Forrest House. See Melbourne High School. Spinola. The Forrest House is a fantasy novel by Marion, Zimmer, Bradley and Diana L.Paxson, though the latter is uncredited by the publisher. It is a prequel to her best-selling Arthurian novel The Mists of Avalon. The plot of The Forrest House is based on that of the opera Norma, relocated from Gaul to Britain, but sharing the basic plot outline of a love affair between a Druidic priestess and a Roman officer. Background: The Forrest House is set in the 1st century CE in the west of Britain, which was then part of the Roman Empire. Bradley wrote of the conquest of the Celtic tribes and the political and religious implications of the occupation. The novel revolves around the Druidic priestesses who serve the goddess and keep the ancient rites of learning, healing, and magic lore in the sanctuary, the Forrest House. The forbidden love between the priestess Elan and the Roman officer Gaius is one of the book's principal storylines. Bradley tells the story from both the British female Druidic perspective and the Roman male legionary perspective, and does so without apparent prejudice in a style characteristic of her Avalon series. The complexity of the plot and characters in this novel is somewhat less than that of The Mists of Avalon. Plot summary: in the early days of the conquest, when the Roman legions are aggressively persecuting the Druids, the sanctuary of the goddess on the Isle of Mona is destroyed and its Druids are murdered and its priestesses are raped. Mona had enjoyed a degree of independence from Roman rule for almost 20 years because Boudicca's revolt had forced Roman general Gaius Suetonius Paulinus to withdraw before consolidating his conquest. When the Romans returned under Gnaeus Julius Agricola, they were determined to decisively break the power of the Druids. After the destruction of the sanctuary, the raped priestesses that conceive children kill all of the girl children but leave the boys alive that are born and then kill themselves rather than live with the atrocities done to them. The males later became a rebel group known as the Ravens, which swore vengeance against Rome. Lannan, one of the remaining priestesses, re-establishes a new sanctuary at Vermeton, or the Forrest House, which is partially controlled and protected by the Romans. The novel tells the story of Elan, granddaughter of the Archdruid of Britain. She hears the calling of the goddess and is chosen to become a priestess at Vermeton, and later to succeed the dying Lannan as high priestess. However, before her calling, she hears the voice of her heart, and during the magic night of Beltane, conceives a son with Roman officer Gaius Magelius, son of the high-ranking camp prefect at nearby Deva. Gaius is an inheritant of royal blood through his Celtic mother of a southern tribe, the Silures. Elan knows the son, Gawain, whose bloodline comes from the dragon, the eagle, and from the wise, will play a crucial role in Britain's future, and makes great sacrifices to protect him in his youth. A major shift in the balance of power is in the air. Elan senses that the death of her peace-loving archdruid grandfather will cause it. She tells her friend Cian to take a group of young priestesses to the Isle of Avalon to found a new sanctuary and become the first High Priestess of Avalon. In Vermeton, Elan is increasingly pressured by the new Archdruid, her father, to stop promoting peace and collaboration with the Romans. In a dramatic showdown, she sacrifices herself to avoid a bloody insurgency and, in particular, to save the life of her son Gawain. Development: The Mists of Avalon, a retelling of the King Arthur myth from a feminist point of view, is Marion Zimmer Bradley's most famous single novel. Over the years, and through collaboration with her sister-in-law, Diana L.Paxson, it has grown into a series of books. The Mists of Avalon, The Forrest House, Lady of Avalon, Priestess of Avalon, Ancestors of Avalon, Ravens of Avalon, and Sword of Avalon. In the author's note, Marion Zimmer Bradley says that the hymns in chapters 5, 22, and 30 are adapted from the libretto of Vincenzo Bellini's opera Norma. The hymns in chapters 17 and 24 are from the Carmina Gadelica collected by Rev. Alexander Carmichael in the late 19th century. Reception. The novel received a mixed reception, with reviewers comparing it unfavorably to The Mists of Avalon. Entertainment Weekly praised the novel for being meticulously researched, and noted that it maintains a dark edge, staying true to the turbulent times. Bradley avoids the all-too-frequent fate of the historical novel genre collapsing into a soggy mess. Quote, "It was less successful than The Mists of Avalon, though it sold modestly well.